What is the single most valuable piece of advice ever given by Warren Buffett? A lot of what he says is utterly irrelevant for you and me as self-directed investors, but this bit, which you've probably never heard before, is absolute gold. I'm Bryan Ellis. I'll tell you what it is right now in episode number 103.
You're listening to Self-Directed Investor Radio, America's only podcast exclusively for affluent, self-directed investors, where each day of the week you receive innovative investment strategy and deadly accurate market analysis that's untainted by Wall Street and unblemished by government propaganda, all in 7 minutes or less. Coming to you now from iTunes, Stitcher, and SDIRadio.com, here's your host, Bryan Ellis.
Hello, SDI Nation. I'm so glad to be back with you. Last week was tough, my friends. I had one of those summer colds that really zapped a big portion of the week, and one of the things I missed most was getting to spend this time with you. I say that totally sincerely, folks. I feel like the luckiest man alive to get to do this show and to have your attention for just a few minutes every day, so thank you for being such great listeners. And a special shout out is in order to a few specific listeners who have recently left 5-star reviews for this show on iTunes, which I appreciate so much. They are Tolliver5, who just discovered the show and has already listened to over 20 episodes. Thank you, sir. CCY1189, who describes what you hear each day as informative, inspirational, and innovative. JV Crum III, who describes this show as in a class by itself. And others including Philly M., Joel Bogus, Roy Chumley, Dr. Mark C., and a whole lot more of you. Folks, I'm so eager to share Buffett's best advice ever, but I'd be remiss if I didn't, with the absolute utmost respect for you, ask you to consider stopping by iTunes to give this show a 5-star rating. It helps us so much, and I'll be so grateful to you if you could do so. Thanks a lot. Okay, so you regular listeners have a sense of my opinion of Warren Buffett. On the one hand, the guy is an overwhelmingly successful investor in the equities market. It's undeniable. His results have created substantial influence, and there's a lot to be learned from his approach to investing. On the other hand, his politics are shockingly simple-minded, but it's easy enough to separate that from financial issues for our purposes. Did you know that Buffett is a proponent of the S3 model of investing that I teach here on SDI Radio? The S3 model is basically this. Every single investment you make must be simple and safe and strong. Now, Buffett doesn't call it the S3 model, but that's really what he's doing. In fact, maybe I'll do a show sometime that really details the striking similarities between the S3 model and the Buffett model. Nevertheless, it's not an investment strategy per se that's the most valuable advice he's ever given. Rather, it's the 20-slot concept. It's rumored that Buffett once said these words, "I could improve your ultimate financial welfare by giving you a ticket with only 20 slots in it so that you had 20 punches, representing all the investments that you got to make in a lifetime. And once you'd punch through the card, you couldn't make any more investments at all." Think about that, my friends. Think about the ability to make an investment as a strictly limited quantity. A commodity in short supply that, once exhausted, can never be replenished. It sure would make you think a lot harder about every investment decision you made, wouldn't it? Well, sure, it's not actually true that you only have 20 slots. Or is it? Actually, I think the real-life version of that rule may be far more restrictive than 20 slots, and I'll tell you why in just a moment. But what's absolutely true is that many self-directed investors, particularly those of us in America, have a fundamental weakness. It's the assumption that there will always be more. There will be more money or more opportunities or more time. There will be more economic stability. There will be more strong markets. There will be more health. There will be more days to our lives. We believe there will always, no matter what, be more. My friends, there's a concept that's so important in the world of self-directed investing, but nobody talks much about it, and it goes kind of in contrast to the notion that there's always going to be more. It's the concept of stewardship. In truth, that's what I'd like for this show to be, the stewardship show. Alas, that concept is too foreign to most. Let's separate investing and stewardship, shall we? Investing is about one objective only, taking one thing and making it into something more. And that's a noble, praiseworthy objective. Never ever will you hear me denigrate the notion of investing. It's a good thing, an honorable thing, a necessary thing. But stewardship is about something bigger than that. Stewardship is a step above investing on the financial hierarchy. Stewardship absolutely includes successful investing, no doubt about it. Even the biblical parable of the talents shows that the 2 men who invested their talents and gained more were praised, but the one who simply protected the talent and did nothing to grow it was punished as wicked. So wise investing is a key part of stewardship. But there's more to it. It's a different perspective, a higher perspective. Stewardship includes a few additional considerations, including purpose. For the steward, profit isn't an end, it's the means to an end. Profit earned honorably is a good thing, a noble thing, a just thing. There is honor and respect in earning profit well. Never let Obama or anyone else convince you otherwise. But a wise steward is aware that they and their lives have purpose far beyond merely being profitable. Frequently, the reason the wise steward is blessed with profit is to fund a grander life purpose, which, rather frequently for wise stewards, involves wisely giving to others. The next principle is ownership. Are the assets you've accumulated really yours? Or is it merely entrusted to you by an unseen hand who is using the opportunity to grow you and who is using you to further a purpose that's much higher than your own? The wise steward views everything as temporary, as if he or she is something like a visitor in a foreign land. The steward's home is not his own. The steward's capital is not his own. The steward's time is not his own. What does belong to the steward is his decisions, and those decisions must, at all times, show profound respect for those assets which are under the control of the steward. And the final stewardship principle is scarcity. It's very trendy to focus on the word abundance, particularly in America, where those we consider to be poor have a standard of living that's incomprehensibly high to almost the entire rest of the world. But the wise steward realizes that nothing of value is of unlimited supply. Capital is limited, opportunity is limited, time is limited. If something is valuable, it's limited. That's why it's valuable. But this isn't a limiting belief. Rather, it's incredibly empowering, as the wise steward recognizes that more often than we know, those limitations are the work of that same unseen hand, enabling us to focus narrowly and deeply on a limited set of options so we can prove ourselves worthy of stewarding evermore. There's a notion that's undeniable, and it's this. Whoever can be trusted with a little can be trusted with much more. But the standard for whether one can be trusted isn't merely about whether one can realize a profit. It's also about understanding and applying that profit and those resources to the higher purpose for which the wise steward, that's you, was put on earth to fulfill. And that's why Buffett's notion of 20 slots is so important. You see, you must understand that your ability to deploy your capital isn't an unlimited resource. I know that a disproportionately large percentage of my audience are people who are quite literally millionaires. I don't know if we have any billionaires or not, but what I do know is this. It doesn't matter how much capital you have. Your opportunities may be far more limited than you're aware of. Buffett says you get 20 chances. I believe reality may be harsher than that, because if you're not a wise steward beginning at chance number 1, you'll never make it to number 20. Again, harsh, but true. So my friends, allow me to encourage you with this. As part of becoming a wise steward and not just a smart investor, there are wonderful opportunities available to you right now to invest in assets that are simple and safe and strong. Assets which you can trust, with results on which you can rely. And if I can be of service in helping you to find the assets that are right for you so that you can be successful as an investor and, even more importantly, become a truly wise steward of the blessings you've already received, well, I'd be honored to do so. Just go to sdiradio.com/consultation to set up an appointment. I'd love to talk with you. My friends, invest wisely today and live well forever.
Thank you for listening to Self-Directed Investor Radio with Bryan Ellis. Don't miss a single episode. Be sure to subscribe to Self-Directed Investor Radio right now on iTunes, on Stitcher, and at SDIRadio.com. Your feedback is always welcomed via email at feedback@sdiradio.com. This show is for entertainment purposes only and is not intended as legal or professional advice for your situation. Content is the property of the Self-Directed Investor Society.